Learning is something that we will do for the rest of our lives. So, since we will learn and learn and learn, my question is there a right way of learning? May right way ba of learning? If you are learning new things, masaya ka. Especially as you discover things, wow, ganun pala yun. When you learn new things in our brain, magre-release yan ng mga dopamine and magiging active yung mga pleasure receptors, masaya ka. So, every time that we learn, it sparks joy. Or hindi, basta happiness na lang. It brings rewards. Hey guys, welcome to Rooftop Reflections. Thank you again for joining. Even in the midst of this enhanced community quarantine that we are at home, it doesn't stop us in maximizing our time. It doesn't stop us to not just survive but also to thrive. And if you haven't watched that video, because the goal is not just to survive in this enhanced community quarantine but really to thrive. And part of thriving in this enhanced community quarantine is really to learn. Sino dito you love to learn? Ako, I so love to learn. I'm passionate on the things where I can improve on. That's why sobrang passionate in asking feedback from people. Remember, feedback is a gift. Feedback would allow you to become better. And I think yung feedback topic na yan, it's a different topic in itself. So, yung sa learning, I so love learning. Even if sa Strengths Finder, wala siya sa top 5 ko sa theme, yung learner. Sino dito, when you did your Strengths Finder learner cup, wala siya sa top 5 ko, but I'm pretty sure, or maybe, that even if wala sa top 5 theme ko, yung learner, I think nasa 10. Hindi ko pa kasi na-unlock yung all 34 themes, pero pretty much baka nandun yun. Of course, etong mga learning na to, it's good that we love to learn, but unfortunately, when we were younger, maybe in college or maybe in high school, admittedly, hindi natin na-enjoy yung learning kasi sa school, gusto lang natin tumambay, gusto lang natin masaya, and especially the things that we are learning, it's something that you don't really like, at least generally speaking. Diba? Aralin mo, yung calculus, especially in my program course, ang daming calculus, may mathematics 1 to advanced math, calculus. Kumbaga, there are some people who are passionate about that. Ako hindi eh. Pero nandun na ako, ibang kwento yun. So, di ba, there are times that we just force ourselves to learn kasi kailangan natin hindi bumaksak eh. Kailangan natin mag-progress sa ating school. So, from freshman to senior. So, ginagawa natin yan. Yung for us not to fail. But reality, even if we're done with our college, learning still continues eh. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin eh. Learning does not stop. Tuloy-tuloy lang yun. And what's important, especially in the things that we are learning, I hope that when we learn things, or at least the things that we want to learn, those are the things that fascinates us. Those are the things na yung masaya tayo. I remember when I learned how to play Mobile Legends. Sino dito, nagmo-Mobile Legends ka? Hashtag pabuhat naman. When I learned Mobile Legends, that was like late last year because my friends were playing. O sige, makikilaro na rin ako. And as I discovered how to play this Mobile Legends, so I was not just playing, but I was studying yung mga skills, ilang percent yung penetration, ilang percent yung attack speed. So, inaaral ko yun. Parang, kasi if you are interested in learning those things, in becoming better, kasama yan. You will do the research, you will do those things. And the things that we are really interested, passionate about, we don't mind. We don't mind really to learn all of those things. And maybe to some of you, sino pa dito yung mga nag-ML? O yan, si Geo, nag-ML. So, although it's been a while since nag-ML, yung hindi ako nag-ML kasi na-reach na natin yung goal and we want to just do other things now. Ayan, o nga, dahil nag-mythic na. So, thank you sa mga bumuhat. So, maybe yun yung sa akin. I'm just learning the different heroes, yung passive hero, yung passive skills, inaaral natin. Pero, hindi lang naman sa Mobile Legends yan. To some people, you are a K-drama lover. Sino dito? You are a K-drama lover, maybe you can tag them. Diba? If you are really passionate about K-drama, what you will do is Iba, you will try to learn the language kasi sobrang passionate ka and you don't mind learning a new language. Annyeonghaseyo, di ba? I have friends na mga Koreans growing up. Kasi yung mga high school friends ko, alam nyo yan, di ba? Sina Lim, sina Jaedong, sina Esther, sino pa ba? Si Yuson An, hindi, Yuson Shi. Basta ganun, may mga friends kami. So, may familiar ako sa mga sa mga Yobuseyo, pali. Although hindi ako K-drama lover. What I'm saying is, 'di ba, if you are interested in the K-drama, you don't mind learning the new language. Just gaganyan-ganyan ka pa, heart. So, kanya-kanyang trip 'yan. So, that's good. Of course, there are some learnings that we really enjoy kasi syempre masaya tayo. And the thing now, in our time, in terms of learning, it's very accessible. The information is very accessible. It's just at the tip of our fingers. Mag-google lang tayo. The learning is there. That's why o nga Jen, kay Yisun Shin yung sa before, katulad ng, nabutan niyo pa ba si Ernie Baron, di ba? In the 90s, he was saying, knowledge is power. Because during the time, it's true. Because of the limited knowledge, those who have that knowledge would gain more insights, would gain more opportunities. Pero ngayon, hindi mo naman yung knowledge is power because knowledge is everywhere. It's on how to properly utilize that knowledge and apply it in your field. That counts now. Kasi it's a fair ball game. Pag nag-Google ka, yung algorithm ng Google, ibibigay sa'yo lahat eh. AM Kadang, Opa Gangnam Style. Opa, ganyan. When we were in Korea, yung daddy ko, joke nasa Nami Island kami, tas tinatawag ko siya, Opa, gumagano lang. Wala, trip lang, huwag kayong magulo. We are now in an age where it's easy to get information. And maraming mga benefits why we will learn, and maybe you can also comment below yung mga benefits why you are learning, and I'll be sharing some why I'm really passionate on sharing to you why we need to learn. The first one is it brings happiness. If you are learning new things, masaya ka as you discover things. Wow, ganun pala yun. Especially when you learn new things in our brain, magre-release yan ng mga dopamine and magiging active yung mga pleasure receptors, masaya ka. So every time that we learn, it sparks joy, or hindi, basta happiness na lang. It brings rewards. And I remember when I was in New York, kasi yung sa New York, yung subway doon, it's not that simple compared to other nations. Like for example, sa Singapore, mas simple. Sa Dubai, sa Taiwan, sa Malaysia, mas simple lang. Sa New York, it's not hard naman. Pero it's something na kailangan mong aralin. Kailangan mong magtanong-tanong, mag-research. So, when I was there and I somehow figured out, although with some tips ng some friends, thank you Sheena for helping me before. So, somehow when I got the hang of it, yung natutunan ko na parang wow, ang saya mo. So, that's the effect of you learning something new. What are the things na yung nagpasaya sa'yo dahil you learn something new? What are those things? Ako, yun yung sa akin when I learn something new. So, that's one of the benefits. The second benefit, aside from it brings happiness, second, it brings competence. It will allow you to solve more problems. It would give you more insights. It would help you in gaining knowledge. And it would bring you, kumbaga, into more ideas. So, especially in IT, I know my friend Paul Tolentino, Singaporean, nasa IT industry yan eh. And alam ko sa IT, every time that nagpro-progress yung years, if hindi ka nag-skill up, hindi ka nag-aral, pwede ka maiwan ng technology. So you need to always learn to be up to date, whether SAP ba yan, Agile ba yan, or whatever platform, Oracle, or kung ano man yan. Di ba kailangan mo lagi to keep on learning, kasi kung hindi, you will be phased out, extinct, or not relevant. Sad to say, pero ganun talaga with the fast changing world, VUCA time, sobrang bilis. We need to always learn because again, it would bring competence, and especially in our time now and in this enhanced community quarantine, we have a new norm and it disrupted the business. And maybe to some of us, we think that after this enhanced community quarantine, baka we'll just go back to normal. But remember this, even before enhanced community quarantine or after, and yung sa level of success natin or certain degree of hitting the target, we need to remember this, that what got you there won't get you there. So especially if we are just doing the things in terms of the status quo, we will not adapt. Of course, pwede tayong maiwan, makain yung market share. So it's really important that we need to learn because it will give more competence. So as we gain more competence, we skill up. We are prepared in the ever-changing times. It would allow us to innovate. It would allow us to pivot. It would allow us to think outside the box so that even if our existing business models are not working, we can think of ways wherein we know pwede pa rin, magiging relevant pa rin tayo, and we could still bring value to people. As we learn and learn, it will bring competence. The next one, it will also bring or build confidence. Ganun yan eh. The more that you know the things that you are saying, the more that it will give you confidence. I remember I was in sales for 5 years. What's important is, kailangan meron kang product mastery. So that in and out, kahit balik-balik na rin yung questions, kahit anong angle ng tanong sa'yo, masasagot mo. And that builds confidence. So it's important to constantly be updated because your clients, your customers, masaspot nila yun if you're faking it or if what you know is just superficial. So that's what's important, to constantly learn. And katulad nung sinabi ni Larry Uy, leaders doesn't stop learning, leaders keep on innovating. That's true. Totoo yun. So Jonathan, you are right. Full caps, all caps, that as we learn, it will not just bring competence, but it would build confidence. So as we have more confidence, the effect of this, and another benefit, it will open more opportunities because now you are more competent, you have upskilled, you are now up to date, you are now relevant, you can innovate, and the way you are doing it, mas confident ka na, it will open doors for more opportunities. So imagine in this enhanced community quarantine, because you skilled up, nagkaroon ka ng connections with people, you did some things to level up the business model, it will open more doors for business. It will open more doors of opportunities. And the good thing with that, it's not just building opportunities like in terms of business, but also even in relationships, because the more that you learn, the more that you know something, the more that you have to say in a lot of things. So, ibig sabihin nun, di ba, as you meet new people, yung important in connecting with new people is establishing common ground eh. So, the more that you know different topics, the more ka makakonect. So if that person mahilig sa basketball, you can talk a lot about things, mahilig ka rin sa basketball. Or maybe you can talk about the influential women in different parts of the world. Alam mo rin yun. So you can connect more, you can relate more. Or if that person mahilig siya sa K-drama or kung ano man. Or at least, di ba, if you learn yung mga series, yung Chloe, ano pa ba yun? Goblin, Itaewon Class, yan, mga favorite ng mga friends natin. So at least, di ba, it would also build more connections. Tama ka, Larry Uy, relationship ang also nabibuild niyan as you connect because you know more things eh. And again, hindi naman para patalinuhan to, it's just that because of what you know, meron kayong shared conversations, and that would lead to a more meaningful conversation as well. So of course, nasabi na natin yung mga benefits, that it would bring happiness, it would also bring competence, it would build confidence, it will open more doors. But yung lastly na benefit, na at least what I will share, is that it keeps our brain healthy. It keeps our brain healthy. AM Kadang, we won't judge you if you like K-drama. Excuse me. Although, sige, magdadigress ako. I'm not into K-drama, although nanonood ako ng Kingdom. Natapos ko yan. Ganda nga nung ending eh. Pero yung Chloe, #Chloe, I watch yung isang episode lang. Next time ko na ikikwento bakit ko pinanood. Next time. Mga Koreans talaga, nung galing sa pakiligan, yung biglang gugulatin mo, tapos yung gaganon mo, magaling sila sa mga moments na ganon. So, going back, what happens is, when we are learning, our brain is more healthy because when we learn something new, part of the white matter in our brain na-activate yan. So medyo technical, so yung mga myelination, nagiging thicker yung myelin, yung mga synapse, yung mga neurons mas mabilis. So basta in short, mas na-activate yung brain natin. And what's important is, as na-activate yung brain natin, mas nagiging healthy and active. And the benefit of that as well, it avoids us sa pagkakaroon ng dementia. So it's important as we learn new things, it would keep our brain more healthy. Sige, so na-mention ko na we have those benefits when we learn, and maybe you can still comment below yung mga benefits when you learn. Yun ang mga naisip ko as I was preparing this. When we talk about learning is a skill in itself. So, meaning if it's a skill, it's something that we need to work on, we need to build on. When we learn, gusto natin that when we learn, we gain something new. Pero kasi there is a process when we learn. And that's what we don't want. Yung frustration of learning, becoming vulnerable, asking dumb questions, ayaw natin yun eh. Kung pwede lang, di ba? Kung pwede lang skip yung process and then i-download na yung learning, okay na eh. Parang yung sa Matrix, di ba? If you still remember si Neo when he wanted to learn to drive a chopper ba yun, dinownload lang. Kung pwede lang yung ganun, but it doesn't work that way. Naalala nyo pa ba yun, Matrix? They said may bagong Matrix daw. Is that this year or next year? So, Neil Jameson, yes, life lessons at its finest. So, as much as we want to skip the process in learning, unfortunately, we can't skip it. But the good news, ito yung good news. Yes, we can skip the learning process, but we can make it faster. We can make our learning process more efficient. Because like what I mentioned, learning never stops. Tuloy-tuloy lang yun. Tuloy-tuloy lang. But as we learn, we will build confidence, we will build competence. And learning is something that we will do for the rest of our lives. So, since we will learn and learn and learn, my question is there a right way of learning? May right way ba of learning? Kasi maglo-learn na naman tayo, or baka pare-pareho lang yan, yung mga learning. And that's what we are going to talk about today. Let's learn how to learn. Let's learn how to learn. That's our rooftop reflections, because learning is a skill, and this is something that we can learn from it. And when we talk about constant learning or learning to learn, it's really the ability to pursue and persist in learning. Pursue and persist in learning, managing the information you're getting, managing the time that you're getting, so that you can learn, whether personal level or in groups. So, I'll be giving you some tips on learning how to learn. There's so much that you can learn na pwede ko pang i-mention, but I'll just be sharing few. I'll just be sharing at least 3 with some subpoints. So, the first one, tips on learning how to learn. The first one is learn how our brain works. Learn how our brain works. So, we need to understand, and I based this on the book of Dr. Oakley, and she said that yung brain natin, it has 2 modes of thinking. First is the focused, and then second is the diffused. Focus is you are obviously focused specific on that specific task. So it's just like when you are reading a material, when you are studying, or maybe intently watching this video, focused yan. So that's one mode of thinking. But the other one is diffused, meaning you let your mind wander. You let your mind wander, and that's important as well, because sometimes what we think, because sometimes we think, hindi, basta tutok lang, bahala na, diretso lang. But we need to understand how our brain works. So we need to allow our minds to wander, for our minds to rest. That's why if you notice, when there are times you are maybe at your toilet, CR, or not doing anything, nakatunganga, biglang may maiisip ka, because what's happening even in that resting period, the synapse in your brain, yung connect, nag-aalaw siya mag-work. So you are not just absorbing your knowledge when you are intently focusing on it, but even when you let your mind wander. So okay lang, don't be too hard on yourself if you are taking breaks. That's what's making it more optimized, yung sa learning. So that's how our learning works. Kasi when we rest, you are making your brain make new connections. So, pinapakapal yung mga connections so that it can be faster, so that you can retain more knowledge. So, that's the learning modes. If you remember last week, we talked about yung focus, and one of the things so that we can focus is yung sa tomato, yung sa 25 minutes. So, you can use that. Pomodoro technique wherein focus on 25 minutes of intense study and then 5-minute break. So it's important that you have scheduled breaks. You can also watch that video as well. So what's important, at least when we learn, is not just you are totally focusing on it, but also giving time for your mind to take a break. So the second tip that we can get is learn how we learn best. Learn how we learn best. Ito na yung mga learning styles. And traditionally, we know yung mga learning styles as VARK: visual, auditory, reading, and kinesthetic. Pero I would like to use, instead of yung reading, yung tactile. So yung visual, you learn primarily of what you see. Sino dito mga visual kayo? Comment below. And yung next naman, another learning style is auditory. You learn more from hearing. Mahilig ka sa podcast, yung mga Spotify. And also yung next is yung tactile. You learn best when you read, write. So yun yung tactile. And then the last, kinesthetic. You learn best when you do it. Kung may action. So what are you? What are you in terms of your learning styles? Are you a visual person? Are you an auditory person? Are you a tactile person? Are you a kinesthetic person? Sa akin, I'm a tactile person. So, what I do, sometimes I listen to a podcast or sobrang ganda ng learning, intense. So, what I do, I still type it. Mahilig ako mag-type eh. So, that's how I process things. That's how I absorb. And ito lang, just to give you a caveat, because in the medical world, or at least scientific study, there are now some pushback in terms of itong mga VARK, visual, auditory, kinesthetic na mga learning. So sinasabi it's not as much important. At least yun yung sinasabi ng scientific community. There's some pushback. But for me, it doesn't really bother much kasi yung takeaway natin dito, at least we know where we learn best. So what's important is we just know, but ito yung at least yung learning natin doon. We should not be fixed on kung anong learning style. Kasi sometimes hindi naman ako auditory. Disregard. I mean, with the glut of all the learnings, we also need to adjust. And kung kaya ng learning style natin, then so be it. If not, we just need to do the grind. So that's the second tip that we can get, is to learn how we learn best. And then the third one is to learn how to learn faster and better. So that's the third one. Learn how to learn faster and better. And I'll be giving you at least 4 tips that can help us in how to learn faster and better. First one is to learn by chunking. Learn by chunking, meaning, just like what I've said before, ito yung mga you break it down. So if there is a content that's seemingly big, so just break it down until such a way that it can be more simple and palatable to you. But it doesn't stop there, that you just break it down. As you understand that simple concept, as you chunk it, it's important is you need to understand how that chunk relates with another chunk. So as you understand those tiny bits, you need to understand on how that fits together in the grand scheme, on the bigger picture. So kunwari sa basketball, if you break it down into chunks, okay, you will learn first yung dribbling, then yung shooting, then yung endurance, then yung strength. Pero you need to also understand on how that relates with one another. So that's chunking. Learn by chunking. The second one is to learn by associating, meaning you will use anacrostics, you will use colors, you will use word associations so that it could give you a guide and help you to better remember. And an example of that is building an acrostic. If you remember, if you watch the episode Thrive and Not Just Survive, it helped me until now, memorize ko pa rin, of thriving in the midst of this crisis. Diba? T, talk to someone, and yung H, help in any way you can, and then yung R, reflect holistically, yung I, inspire hope, yung B, vigilance is needed, and then yung E, effort is the key. Even tumagal na yung information, because of you associating it, it would help you retain more knowledge. And I remember I read from a book in terms of short-term memory, long-term memory. I forgot the book na eh. Basta, yung short-term memory, what you will do is, you need to remember so that you can recall. Just remember and remember so that you can recall. See, long-term memory, you need to recall, inaalala mo, so that you can remember. So, that's how it works as well. Yun yung learn by associating. The third one is learn by connecting. Yung learn by connecting, this is something that you are building to an existing knowledge. So if you have a new knowledge on something so that it can be easily retained, what you need to do is you need to build it in an existing knowledge. An example, I've been hearing yung, if you know Warren Buffett, favorite ng kuya ko yan, Marvin Germo, and one of the lines that's famous na sinabi ni Warren Buffett, be fearful when people are greedy, be greedy when you are fearful. And especially in these times of crisis, people are being fearful. And kung ayaw nyo yung word na greedy, pwede natin ibahin. Basta in terms of finances, what's happening, especially when there's fear, when there's crisis, people are selling, people are fearful. But sinabi ni Warren Buffett, be greedy or buy when people are selling, or when people are buying and buying, ikaw yung magsisell to optimize the gain. So what I'm saying is, because I know that concept, and especially now we are in our trying time, observing how people are in fear, parang okay, mas nagko-connect sa akin yung concept na yun, yung sinabi ni Warren Buffett. So my point there is, if you learn by connecting whatever you know before, you just connect that new knowledge for you to better understand it. So learn by connecting. And then the last one is, and ito yung favorite ko, learn by teaching. You learn by teaching. Teaching is twice the learning, because the reason I'm really passionate in doing these things, doing these videos, sharing whatever I know, because eventually, yes, it would be beneficial to the person, but at the same time, maalala ko rin. Kaya nga the things that I'm sharing with you, I remember, hindi naman to first time that I've shared this, but I've shared this to some people, especially nung una ko nabasa yung book, when I got that insight. So, tuloy-tuloy lang. So, I hope that whatever learning that you get in this enhanced community quarantine, sana it's not just only for you, but please share it, teach it, so that people can benefit as well. And also at the same time, it would be synthesized more in your system. I'll just give you a recap of that as we try to end this. So, ano yung mga tips so that we can better learn faster? So first, learn by chunking. So break it down, simple concepts and how it relates with one another, and then learn by associating using acronyms, and also learn by connecting existing and building it with existing knowledge, and also learn by teaching. Teaching is twice the learning. So as we wrap this all up, what we have said earlier, tama, Roms, chunking is also categorizing. Tips on learning, 3 things yon. Learn how our brain works. It's important that when we try to learn, it's not just yung puro focus lang, but we give our time for our brains to wander so that mag-connect. Kaya nga importante rin yung sleep eh, because yung subconscious nag-recuperate yung sa brains natin. So, di ba, sometimes when we wake up, we have a new idea. So, that's the same concept. So, how we think, focus, and diffuse. Second tip on how we can learn is learn how we learn best. We shared about the different styles of learning. Are you a visual person? You learn more when you see it. Are you an auditory person? When you learn best when you hear a material. A tactile person when you read or you write. Or you are a kinesthetic person when you do it. It's good that you know your learning style, but do not be boxed by it. And then the third tip is to learn how to learn faster and better. Learn by chunking, associating, connecting, and teaching. Those are the tips. And like what I've mentioned earlier, maraming mga benefits din yung learning. And what I've said, as we learn new things, it will just bring happiness. Ano eh, di ba masaya when you learn new things, di ba? Neil Jimson, gawa ka ng book, boss. Why not? Mga nasa pipeline yan. Iba-ibang topics. Tingnan natin. Although busy pa, but thank you for the suggestion. So yung benefits, it brings happiness, di ba, when we learn new things. And also, it brings competence. It would allow us to face the world with new knowledge, help us to innovate, to adapt in whatever business model, because we bombard ourselves with new learnings. Masasabayan natin yung world, or maybe hindi tayo sasabay, but we will have the opportunity to pioneer, to groundbreak, to be a trailblazer. So that's what's mga benefits din yan, not just to build competence, but also it would lead to building our confidence. As you have more knowledge, as you have more competence, it would breed confidence. But also at the same time, as we learn new things, our brain would be more healthy. It keeps the brain healthy. Kasi when we learn something new, like what I've mentioned, yung sa white matter sa brain natin, nag-activate. So, it would also avoid yung mga dementia natin. So, it's really good to learn. And as we will put this to a close, so much to learn, but so little time. I always say that. So much to learn, so little time. But what I'm saying here, I hope that you will not learn just for the sake of learning. Ay, hindi. Sabi ni Rooftop Reflections, dapat mag-learn daw eh. The goal is not just to learn for the sake of learning, because sometimes baka manghinayin tayo, ay ECQ, sayang yung time to learn. My hope is you learn not just for the sake of learning, but you learn the things that you need to learn, the skills, the competence for you to be the person who you are called to be. So that you will be a blessing to the world. Hindi lang yung basta learning para may masabi learning. Up to you, pwede naman kung trip mo yan if you will be entertained. But I hope we will be strategic, that when we learn, it would allow us to be the person who God called us to be. Because we are called to be great. God has called us to have a great destiny. And for example, if you are a person, God called you to be a communicator, then maybe you can break it down, the skills, so that you can be a better communicator, proper diction, confidence in speaking. Learn not just for the sake of learning, learn so that you can be the person who you are called to be, or at least you will inch closer to be that person who would be a blessing, not just to the family around you, but to the people around you. The good thing with that, there are people who would help us in this learning process. And again, ang dami kong shinare about learning, but I really can't force you in learning. I really can't force you. It's really up to you. I remember a statement that if the student is ready, the teacher will show up. So, it's really up to you when you are ready, because life and reality, it keeps on teaching. When the time comes that we are ready to learn, dun talaga tayo mag-learn. So, let's be deliberate on what we can learn and what we can gain. And naalala ko rin si Nat Geo, the more you know, the more you do not know. So, because it means that as you learn and discover, ma-realize mo, there's so much to learn, there's so much things that I need to comprehend. And you know, as you do that, you will live a life just pursuit, having that excitement of learning new things. And the goal is, again, not just to learn for the sake of learning, but so that you will be a person that would be of value. You will be a person who would help people because of the new insights, because of the new skills, or maybe a new idea that would lead to business. It would be a blessing to the people around you. So my take in this learning, I really love this. I'm really passionate about this. But let's not stop learning, because life never stops teaching. I repeat, let's not stop learning, because life never stops teaching. So, tuloy-tuloy lang natin yung mga learning. Let's also be humble when we learn. Let's not learn sa mga feeling natin expert lang. We can learn even sa mga younger than us or people na walang position. Let's just learn as much as we can. So, the good thing with that, we can learn together. So, that's for our rooftop reflections. Let's learn how to learn. Any takeaways? What have you learned in this session? Are you the type that you are learning, or what resonated with you in this session in terms of this learning? What are your takeaways? Neil Jimson, learning is a day-by-day process. No need to rush it. Mahirap pag ni-rush ang learning. That's true. Learning is something that you will not rush. What's important is yung quality of learning. Hindi naman tayo magpapakita ng tao na ang mabilis. We need to remember that our pace, our journey, we are not comparing it with different people. We have our own pace. Let's be secure. And if we have friends who feeling natin, uy, ang galing na. Kumbaga, let's be happy for them. Huwag tayo mainggit. Kumbaga, let's make them an inspiration sa atin so that we can do more. So, Lyndon, Harilla, purposeful learning. Yes, let's not just learn for the sake of learning, but we need to learn because we know it would be helpful. So guys, thank you for joining. Any takeaways? If you have any comments, so just comment in below. I'm really excited because nakita-kita tayo ulit sa Rooftop Reflections. Thank you guys. Bye!